Hello, hello, hello. So, I hope everyone's doing good on this Saturday afternoon. I don't, gonna warm up this stream with a video or a part of a video. Anyway, here we go. These videos are for educational purposes and fun only. I'm gonna have my
Any
mic on
artwork or
during-
stories may or may not be true. This whole thing started
So if
because
there's
I
any
was asking the
comments?
Oracle about King George III. I was just gonna relax and have some fun and look at backgrounds, you know. I got to thinking, is George a giant? Well, let's ask this. How many people do you know that are as big as a pillar? Never mind the floor level here. I suspect most floors have been built up. So just look at this bottom ring decoration right here. This giant could wrap his arms around this pillar. Now, which person here could even come close? Then I was thinking, well, who kept association with Giant George? I was just messing around online. Then I thought to myself, well, wait a minute, I don't know Shinola about this guy. Matter of fact, I don't even know when he was king. Knowing New England, Boston specifically, is 1630. Could Giant III have associated with New Englanders? So we're going to take a little detour right now. Contadina means seasoned. This title isn't deserved of Boston in our 1630s narrative. No, quite the opposite, actually. But here it is. A seasoned piece of land and quite built out. I'm going on my own assumption that these letters and numbers are added, because the message on the outside of this coin is disturbing. And the word city seal. That just means finally seized control of. Now, that's my opinion. And this little symbol here that seems to be reminiscent of the markings from the New England I and J video. Now here's my question. Why is it that this crest has opposing statements on the same work of art? Everything is simple until these guys get a hold of it and obfuscate all meaning. Which one here is more sensibly elegant? Or, which one do you prefer? And this is how simply things can be hoaxed. I made the one on the right to demonstrate the simplicity of this crest as I've pontificated it once looked. So let's go back to George, and I was thinking, did he know any of the New Englanders? But I couldn't, because I don't know who lived when. I don't even know where my New Englanders lived. So I got to wondering how many researchers, or most of us for that matter, have any idea what years the three Georges were around. Never mind our guys. Well, I decided to look into all this. Here are our narrative-driven dates, and that is what we're going to do right now. First thing we have is we got the problem with the calendars. We go Julian, Gregorian.
Okay, that's not what we're gonna do. It's not what we're gonna do, because I'm gonna stop doing that. I just wanted to replay that for the internet, for the Oracle. Maybe if that's interesting to somebody. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna do is this. Here's a feature presentation. I'm still gonna be here while it goes.
Where did it all begin? Why are we here? Who are we? Where do we come from? What does it all mean?
1, 2, 3, okay. Recording. And now it's time to put on my old radio show persona. I want to remind my listeners that all I say on my channel could be baloney. You may be misled by my serious tone. It doesn't necessarily mean that I presume everything that I say is true. Mostly I look at my channel a bit like an old radio show. The broadcaster reports to his audience information in story form to arouse intrigue for the listener's entertainment. And that's all. We're just here to look at our realm, look at mysteries of the realm. So I have this book here, and it's called Flying Saucer Occupants. I've thought about recommending it because it's such a fun book. I want everyone to read it, right? The author's name is Lorenzen, and the book was published on the East Coast of North America in New York in July of 1967. This is a first print copy, and it smells wicked good. It's so old. Probably before most of my viewers were even born. I mean, it was 75 cents a copy. My brother and I have collected all the aerial phenomena literature we could get our hands on, and we've studied this subject at great length. Now, I want to make it clear that we've studied the literature, not the actual cases in the books. I'm going to say that this was my first hobby, collecting these books as a youngin'. You know, it's one of the reasons why I say that I didn't grow up believing in the mainstream narratives, because my reality was being educated or informed through flying saucer literature. I wasn't spending much time in the mainstream reality. My overall reality, belief, lifestyle, mindset, and certainly parts of my personality were being assembled in the white spaces between the black sentences as I absorbed this material constantly. A covert paradox that was literally belly laugh nonsense to most of society at the time. You know, a society who would never believe what Roosevelt, Truman, Eisenhower, Kennedy, Johnson, Nixon, and the implementation of their alphabet squads would do to keep secrets from the public. And of course, Alphabet Stew includes any military agency that you can think of as well, right? We're talking way back. Some of these books, you know, they're from the 50s. And we know what the narrative is of 50s life, American 50s life, right? So people didn't think that their presidents were liars. But this is the reality that I was captivated by. Secrecy, cover-up, spy missions, mysterious G-men, coffee and smoke-filled noir back rooms, shredding secret papers. These people were trying to figure out how to spin flying saucers into non-existence. You know, why were these organizations set up? Why the disinformation? And ultimately, why all the secrecy and silence? Obviously, something about the flying saucers in the sky was true, or they wouldn't go this far to keep it close to their chest. Because of this literature, ever present and constantly on my mind was the thought of catching a glimpse of a gleaming disc in the sun peeking over the tree line on an autumn day in New England. Set my imagination to wonder deeply. I wish I would see one so I could know the answers. And of course, we haven't even scratched the surface of other aspects of this subject that intrigue me. Not to mention, after sifting through pages and pages only to find I have more questions. I think that sentiment sounds pretty familiar to all the old world researchers out there, right? Well, that's been my whole life. Research with nothing to look forward to but confusion, a trickle, a morsel, a dead end. One of the important things about occupants is that it's referring to unknown things in the sky as flying saucers and not UFOs. And maybe someday I'll make a video about the psychological difference between flying saucers and UFOs, because there is a difference. But that's a different video. And as the years grew on, with the subject becoming more prevalent in our society, the two terms became intertwined and convoluted, replacing each other without regard for their distinction. And of course, in my opinion, that's all by design, given the kinds of organizations that took interest in flying saucers in the early days. Some of these organizations were set up in response to the saucer problem. and the government grew. That's not a coincidence. Even the entertainment industry and celebrities have been summoned to sway a mental picture of what is acceptable in the confines of this subject. I will say that Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and there's many other ones, is quite the movie. Maybe I'll say narrative, right? And I know that there's going to be new people to this channel, have just discovered the mud flood and old world researches. I'd like to say to you, the mysteries of the realm don't begin and end with those subjects. Now, that brings me to the great airship scare of the West Coast and the mystery airships of the East Coast. And between those two were the central and mountain sightings of the American 1800s. I want to make it clear that these were not just spot sightings here or there, or a few folks who said they saw one float by, or saw one out over the water, or it was too high to get a good look at. No. These were mass sightings with clear descriptions, basically blimps with metal or wood booths, iron wheels, sails, some carrying what appeared to be houses or buildings. Witnesses claimed to describe wings, rudders, propellers, oscillators, scales, fins, nets. These machines were also known to bellow steam, smoke, or fire, and cast superpowered lights. Sometimes they would move at fantastic nimble speeds, and their maneuverability was often described as spooky. These sightings were such an ongoing occurrence that folks were starting to get frustrated and annoyed with their ghostly operations. These things could buzz cities, towns, and farms with ease, blasting superpowered lights at people that simply couldn't exist at the time, which of course, by many accounts, was frightening to the good folks who lived here. It got to a point where the folks started shooting at them. That's how close these things could get. They didn't make noise as a rule, so to have one sneak up on you so close was startling, to say the least. So people took this as a threat, right, and used weapons against them. For me, airships were the most fascinating in the early days. There's two sides to every story, right? While this was all going on, you had the debunkers, right? And they were claiming that the accounts were all hoaxes, and they were writing articles in the newspapers about how they solved the great airship case. But I didn't pay that much attention to that stuff. I did like to read the articles, and a lot of these books had those. You know, it's funny because when you look back, books were like the internet. Like, they would give you information and clippings and stuff they found that you couldn't get on your own, right? So this is one of the reasons why I loved my UFO books. Flying saucer books, aerial phenomena books, secret government books, you know, because I could get my hands on stuff that I couldn't go out and research. Anyway, where was I? Airship case was solved, and I paid little attention to those. Not because I didn't want my airship fantasy to crash into the ground, but more because I knew that the debunkers never had a good line on the whole story. Most of their articles would start out with the wrong information right off the jump. And they never seemed to talk to anybody personally. kind of like our news today, right? Same old tactics. The mainstream news has never changed. The other reason that I believed some of the airship stories is because this kind of contraption that I read so much about was technically logical and mechanically feasible. They did exist as far as I was concerned, and it turns out my intuition was spot on. Dirigibles from the old world were found and owned and flew by the entities who found everything over here. Okay, 3, 2, 1, blast off.
And that is the end of, can you hear me all right? Probably can. I can see the meters. That's the end of that. That goes on and on. There's a lot. Hey, you know what happened with that cemetery video? The same thing that happens so often. I had a bunch of it done, and it mysteriously disappeared. You know, I I can't tell you what happened. I have a theory, but what good is that? Shit's gone. Happens. Thanks, Skull. Sounds good. That's good. So yeah, there's an interlude there about some of the prominent figures in our American history that, you know, seems to me that they were cruising around in blimps. You know, balloons, airships, it doesn't matter, right? Lighter than aircraft. It's been around. That's why we don't get to go in the sky, right? That's why we don't get to learn about what's up there. Because if the people figured out, it's a very simple concept. Sails blow ships over the water, and balloons blow over the cities. I mean, it's the same type of technology, you know? Like when you go fishing, those old plastic bobbers, they only do one thing. They sit on the top of the water. That's all they do. That's what the balloon is. It's not, technically, it's not technology, right? It's something very, very simple. Everything's simple here. That's why the place is level, because it's simple. It's the simplest thing to do. Make it level. Put some holes in it for water, or wherever the water comes from, because, you know, we've been lied to about everything else. I wonder, called upon under a grand old home. You know, that's interesting, Inquisitive. That's really... Yeah, well, France was pretty wild too. That this video goes on. I'm not disputing your claim at all. I'm sure. Any place with a Crystal Palace, you know, was hooking up the lighter than air technology. I don't like blimp anymore. I don't like airship. I mean, airship's closer, but it's lighter than aircraft. It's a bobber. It gets to a certain height and it just sticks there like a bobber. It's just so simple, and that's it. The bobber's never going to fall below the surface, is it? It can't. It can't. It's brilliant. They took that away from us. The same thing, you know, as above, so below. That whole thing, you know, all this stuff. I could go on forever about the bobber. But if you just think about it and then you attach some critical thinking to it and some logic, you'll be all right. So everything's pretty simple. But yeah, that's interesting. You know, the other thing I was thinking, okay, this is kind of way out there, but as far as like, let's see. Hold on, I'm trying to get something here. I wonder if the cemeteries, could something turn everything to stone, like real quick, like, because I don't know, were cemeteries cities for these people that we're looking at right here? Literal cities. I don't know, man. It's such a mystery what could be going on in a cemetery, right? It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. You say no what, Skull? I've wondered the same thing. Lots of occasions. Yeah, about what? I would like to know. Molds? You say they're not molds? No, these aren't molds. I don't know what. Isn't it one of the biggest mysteries of the old world? What the hell is going on? This is one plate. I mean, come on. Right? I have them in my. Do you guys have them? I have them. I can't believe some of the stuff that's in these places. I'd love to go out on the camp. That's why I'd love to do them again, but I don't trust the outcome of it, to be totally honest with you, because I've lost footage, and you can't put that much work into something and keep losing it. You know, it's just not productive lifestyle. That's all I know. But I would have loved to do it. I had a lot. Hopefully everybody's doing good tonight. I'm just putting this picture up there. So this is some serious old world shit. This is the way they found everything. This is such a telling picture. This building's old. This car. This is an electric vehicle. Look at this battery. This used to be on a train track. That's my opinion. You know, Firestone was one of the founders, and they took a lot of stuff off tracks and put rubber on them. They figured out a way to get everybody imprisoned into the automotive industry when everything was automated and on tracks and stuff. That's just where I'm coming from. I mean, it goes way deeper than that, and I'd love to get all into it, but right off the top of my scalp, I can just say, you know, I have a strange feeling that there was a lot of robots around. People didn't do much. They had a different lifestyle altogether. I think cities would get a mayor and a public office, and they'd raise funds until they had fountains and, you know, mechanical everything everywhere. And then when everyone's basic needs were taken care of, the government didn't take any more money. It was for everybody, the government and the people, right? So they all shared in the wealth, and they didn't need to keep taking from the little people, if you will. They turned them into little people, right? Yeah, Medusa and stuff. I don't know what to really do. Some kind of alchemical response. Yeah, like some kind of blast weapon that could just take a neighborhood and go. Right? What if they had to get rid of all the mystical creatures? And that's where that's where graveyards come from. The blasting of the mythical creatures world. I don't know how to put it. Cities, whatever. No. I don't think people turn to stone either. That's the dichotomy of it. I mean, I can't see, my imagination doesn't go into anything that remotely considers turning things to stone, except maybe time. But those people weren't around for so long they turned to stone, right? I don't fall hard on anything. When somebody says something like that, like, I consider that Skull. I don't have any. Yeah, I wonder. Maybe certain substance breakdown. A lot of them are looking up and like praying, and people will say, "Well, that's because they're in a everyone." Wouldn't they be praising the person in the ground instead of looking up with fear in their eyes? That's one of the things that's really strange about it. That's why it makes me feel like something happened to them all sort of at once, to their city. And you know, a lot of it got knocked down, but they didn't knock down all. It's scary to think about. I don't know what could do that. That's what I mean. Skull, I'm with you. It's possible, Ink. It's possible. I mean, I'll go there too. I could see that. Um, yeah, I think the world was tracks and people didn't get in car accidents because that's not how everybody loved the public. Does that make sense? Like everything was for the public. I mean, you can almost see it in this. But another thing I want to address too about the old world, I think like the trains and the blimps and even this picture that we're looking at right now, a lot of this stuff got stripped down and I think it was much more ornate. But they came over here to get, you know, there was minerals and jewels all over and, you know, the secret to the gold rush and stuff. But a lot of that happened before, right? Long before. They stripped everything down to make it look old, to make it not to make it look old. How can I put this? To make it look like the marble people did it. I don't know if I can explain that any better. But I hope that. I don't really have anything else. Well, I mean, I got a million things. Of course, I got a list of all kinds of topics to. Of course, I'm always writing stuff down and saying stuff and saying, "Oh, I gotta remember that." I wonder if they wrecked hundreds of planes on the East Coast. Oh yeah, man, they crashed the trains. Like, you know what I bet? I bet if you look hard enough, you'll be able to find that they were wrecking trains at these exhibitions. It was one of the grand events, probably, right? I'm not saying I know. But yeah, they flew blimps into each other. They had air shows, if you will. Absolutely, man. They put on a spectacle, man, like this picture right here. Look what they turned it into. Does that look like it's supposed to be in the mud or even have tires on it? No, those are steel train wheels. You know what I mean? And who built this at the time that they're claiming that this is? It's just, how does it work? How does it all work together? It's not, you know, our history isn't like a Lego set that you put it together and it makes a bridge and it actually will suspend itself. No. We're like those Tinker Toys. Remember Tinker Toys? Thing would be all jacked up when you try to make a bridge out of that. What a joke, right? It's huge, huge difference. They flew one into a Ferris wheel in New Hampshire. That is fantastic. That must have been where was the camera crew for that? Right? We get the Hindenburg, some fake crap. But this, do you know what year that was? Can you like do any diving in on that? Well, things work in cycles. Yeah, I mean, we live in a flip society. Somebody who tells you that they're going to help you, you goddamn well know because of greed and main character syndrome and all these things. It's not going to turn out in your favor because they don't want it to. That's not why they're interacting with you. They're interacting with you to manipulate a situation that they can, you know, cash me out. Cash me outside. How about that? That's our society. Cash me out. Yeah. Fucking thanks. I'm sure train crashing shows, yep. They had a story with Moxie bottle too. Is this somewhere? Wow, awesome. Yeah, we had a beautiful place called Paragon Park down here in Hull. Their amusement park was so grand at one time. It had a giant statue of a Buddha
Now, what's a Buddha doing on the East Coast? You know, that in that time of, you know, everybody knows what years I'm talking about when I say in that, if you if you're just tuning in and listen behind the scenes. There's a place that we're looking at. Most of us kind of agree that, oh, we could all be wrong. There's no problem with that. None of us probably know jack shit. That's just fine. It was a trolley park. Yeah, well, they had to get rid of it for that airport, huh? Because they were. My brother's theory is they just refixed the blimp technology into airplanes, and I'd say that's pretty damn close. Yeah, I don't care really about the 1900s because the deed was done by then, right? I mean, that's my 1950. Oh, before 1950, sure. I'll help you help me. I'll help you go to jail if that's what I choose. Our society's out of control. They'll use their communication device to put somebody behind bars, to get them beat up, to get them shot, to get them robbed. This shit's crazy, right? Smart cars, bullshit. What Zora? I'm not going to pretend I know what that is. Ink. If you don't mind me calling you Ink. Coney Island had a hotel in a giant elephant building. Oh, I believe it. I'd love to see it. I mean, do you have pictures? How come you? I think I probably asked you this before. How come you don't have a channel? You always come up with some crazy stuff. I gotta do this more. Hey, so I'll throw this out there, man. What does everyone think of the big TV event? What do you guys think? Sharon is a real ancient Aryan type stuff with small hats being removed. Yeah. If your point is that symbolism is, yeah, before it all got twisted, man. Believe me, I'm on board. We live flipped. We're upside down. We think we live on a ball where in Australia and China we walk around upside down and our planes go over our head. What the hell? I mean, come on, man. I mean, like I was saying in the last live, they want to keep you in seventh grade and stop you there and push you out on the world until you're an adult. You don't know squat. At least I didn't. Yeah, I knew certain things like we don't go around the sun and shit, but that's only like because it was brought to my attention in a school book. You know, this is the importance of real education. I'm not saying that I wasn't indoctrinated stuff. It didn't work on me. Some stuff that was supposed to make me. I have dyslexia, so I'm always going to do the opposite. I was born to rebel. You know what I'm saying? It has nothing to do with like my heart and my soul and all that shit. No, it's you know. A condition that they didn't even have a name for when I was a kid. It's crazy, right? Divide and conquer crap all the time, man. They're different than you. They don't like this. Come on. Oh. It's funny how easily America has turned into telling reporters that violence is condoned. I mean, that's one of the really most bizarre things
that I can think of. That this is our society, our YouTube society. Our YouTube society is telling us that it's okay to just tell reporters, hey, how you really feel? Man. And then you got games like, right? You got these games, these 3D games that look real. Drug dealer simulator. I mean, I gotta ask, what are we doing? Yeah, I'm ambidextrous. I'm ambidextrous, right? And I got dyslexia. I'm all messed up. You know what I'm saying? I'm all messed up. But it's one of the reasons why I can feel consciousness and everything. I know that sounds fucking crazy, but let me tell you, it is fucking crazy. You know what? It's even crazier than that. It might sound like a brag or something, but it's not, man. It's more of a curse. A lot of times I just want to be left alone, and not, you know what I'm saying? And not feel the energy of everything. It's just, it's exhausting. You know, you have to be really calm, peace with yourself, because it's rough. And I'm not saying that from some guru standpoint. It's all a bunch of bullshit. Like real world Kingston have edition. I don't know the game. I don't play it. I saw somebody, reviewing it. Like it's some, it's like, this game's fucking great. What are you talking about? It's a drug dealer simulator, man. What are you talking about? It's great. I'm sure the game is fantastic. There's so much technology. Make your fucking head spin. Any of you guys try to do programming or try to make video games? You want to talk about... You have to have the focus of a... I can't approach it, It's insanity. Yeah, I probably have Rehab the game. And everything leads to another thing. You know what I think? You bring up Rehab. The only thing I can think when I think, and this is by design probably, but the only thing I ever think now when I hear the word Rehab is that Lady Gaga is that chick that died. That man that died. That androgynous being that died. What was her name? She's a big drug addict. Why can't I remember her name? That's crazy. Amy Winehouse, yeah. That's all I think about when I see that word. Yeah, Amy. What do you think the possibility of that is? What do you think the possibility of that television show that we saw being real? Because there's no way, right? Isn't that a fishing hook? Sandy Hook. Clements. Sandy. It's the same shit. And all the same stuff comes out, right? Like if you watch the tubes, you'll see that some of the background people are certain people. You know what I'm saying. It's more like Skinny Kardashian. Oh yeah, they play multiple roles for sure. Yeah, I was gonna do a whole video, but that's another one of those videos, They get away from you to the point where you lose one part or something doesn't work out. That's it, and the video's worth nothing because you can't just make videos without a point. That's my opinion anyway. I won't do it. So if I lose a quarter of the video, then no. Your girl is married to Kurt Cobain. What? What? I'm doing something off screen here. You're killing me. I probably yelled into the thing. Yo! Oh my god! That's not real. Dude. Dude, this isn't real. Yeah. Dude, I'm not disputing it. You heard me laugh. I know they do this. Because this is a good disguise. They make him a man. Look, something came to my attention. I don't know if it's true. I can't. These creatures. Is Taylor Swift Anton LaVey's son? Is that what's going on? Because I've been hearing a little crackling of that kind of thing. And I don't know. I don't want to look into it. I mean, I could punch in it right now, but I can't. Because if that stuff's true, you know, it's like it's worse and worse and worse. People think that, look, you know, I know what you're saying. Is there any proof? No, but well, thanks for giving me a good laugh. That was run it by small fry, yeah. Hey, look, I'm looking in the eyes. I know anatomy. This is not, you know, and here's the thing, right? I'm not going to be one of these people. His first album is fantastic. I wore it out. Just him, supposedly. Doubt it. I don't even know if he had anything to do with, I don't know who the real guy is, all this bullshit. I seen them in concert, blah, blah, fucking blah. It's, you know, as soon as anyway, I guess I won't. I don't know about the Taylor Swift thing with the Napoleon Dynamite. I heard that. I kind of blew it off. Kinda, I did. I was like, they're getting crazy. I thought this might have been crazy too, but I'll tell you what. I mean, obviously some pictures don't look anything like it, but you can scan and see the ones that do. And, you know, it's a little frightening. I mean, who wants to... Yeah. No, I'm not distrusting your judgment, Inc. Yeah, so I don't know about the Anton LaVey thing either. I mean, I just think this shit's funny. They play different roles so that they can. Who remembers there was a court case about some, I don't know, either rape or improper touching or something like that. Big court case with you know, government officials. And man, so the woman didn't want to be in the room with this guy, so they did deposition without her. So then she gets to come in and do her deposition, right? Without him, of course, because it's him. How anybody can't see this, it was just beyond me. I was like, I had to keep my mouth. This happened a long time ago, and I was in a whole different, lifestyle and whatever. And I was at my mom's, and she was watching like this court TV crap, right? Like these people do. I couldn't believe what I was seeing, and I just had to leave. I left. I'll go home, I'm not going to sit there and have a conversation about, I can't believe these two people are exactly the same. That's why they don't want to be in the room together. Duh. So he plays both sides, and they have this big shenanigan courtroom thing. Just like, wasn't there just a big court thing? It's all a show. They write it all. You would guess Antoine's grandkid. Yeah, something like, it's no. You only get to, I'll put it this way so everyone understands, but it has a lot to do with some stuff that's controlled around this, but you only get to a certain amount of money before you have to take the meeting. Okay, and the meeting's mandatory. It's not. Anyway. You're forever doing well for others. She doesn't really know. Yeah, that song's real. The power's all within. You guys know that one? They're related to the Gore family somehow. Oh, the Gores, yeah. Aren't they Massachusettsans, the Gores? Massachusetts. New England, maybe Bristol County, something like that. I could be way off, but I thought they did a lot of touring in my area when I was younger. See, I'll go down any path, I'm open. If someone came in here and, said things I don't agree with, we're all going to say stuff we don't agree with, right? All wealth has fingers and mass. Oh, shit, yeah, man. This place is creepy. All you got to do is take a walk. Seriously, man, you feel it all around you. It's not, it's not like California. It's not like Arizona. Tell you all the places I spent a lot of time in, right? No, this is not like that here. There's a feeling here. Whatever that means, I can't speculate. I know what it is. I don't know what it is for me. I was going to say I know what it is. I don't know anything. I don't know how China decides that they're going to go to the moon and do the most fakest cartoon nonsense in the ever. What? Are you kidding me? Like, how does this go on? Kennedy family, Joseph Kennedy. Yeah, I spent some time right on an adjacent land to the Kennedy mansion. Right here in Mass. Yeah, I spent some time over there. I wanted to go exploring, but you're with regular people, and I don't mean to say that you're with marble people. Let me put it to you that way. You're not going to get them to understand anything that you're. I investigate everything. I want to. Do you get it? Do you guys get obsessed with finding the old world everywhere you are, and like? If you see something, you'll try to figure out if it's actually old world or it's a fake because there's some really questionable stuff. I want to take the camera out for a walk. I really love to, because, but that's a lot of work. Again, I gotta get out there. Then I gotta, Lincoln grandparents. Yeah, I didn't know that. You're full of information, Enki. Oh, have you been to Martha's Vineyard? A long time ago, it was beautiful. But I don't know what it's like now. But when I went, you know, I feel like I lived in a different world because everything's so flipped. And it might be because of technology. When we were running around, we weren't thinking about being flipped. We were thinking about, regular things that dudes and gangs of dudes think about, cars. There wasn't a whole lot to do. People hear this story a million times by us old guys, but it's a world of the internet, man. Tell you, there was only a few things to do. You could have a couple hobbies, but girls and cars and hanging out at like the beach and in the woods and stuff. Because what are you gonna do? Go to the movies with 18 people? No. You're gonna go hide somewhere. I'm not surprised. One of these days, I'm going to take the camera down to where Paragon Park used to be, the amusement park, and show you a theory that I have. But I can't really. I could say it, but I'd love to have the images for it. So it's something that definitely is going to come up because it's going to get really nice out. I like to drive my cars, so. You gotta get down there. Probably won't be a long video because it's gonna be right. I don't really have much to say about it, but it's gotta. I'd like people to contemplate the idea. Massachusetts, man, this place. A lot of it too is like, how do I put this? A lot of it too with the Massachusetts, the narrative wants us to believe that we're like spawned from wickedness, even if you want to go with the narrative that we killed off the Indians. But of course, let's just pretend we don't have some issues with that, right? The narrative, I did a video, right? The narrative kind of changed about who the Pilgrims were. I don't understand when this happened, whose kids are mixed up by the old man's version of the Pilgrims were nice and they made pies and they didn't know how to farm and, they had this massive boat, but now you start getting crazy, but pretend all that. You're not thinking like that, right? Just pretend you don't have any thinking skills, critical thinking skills. Oh, no, and they were just, no, but they brought over cannons and fucking 8-foot guns and shit. If they even brought them over here, I don't know, sounds like a military outfit to me, the Pilgrims. Yeah, King Philip. It's crazy stuff too. But there's the old sentiment that, or I don't know if it's a sentiment, but there's a saying: every book has been rewritten, every painting has been repainted, every furnishing has been refurnished, every building has been refaced. These kinds of things, and I wonder how much of the old world we actually are seeing. We could be as duped as anybody else, thinking they know what's what. It's very difficult. That I suppose that could be. The Pilgrims beheaded King Philip. I guess. Where do you get this stuff? Are you a library or something? Are you a bot that like throws out shit? It's valid in the employ. Yeah, Vlad was in some of the cemetery stuff. I wish I didn't lose that video, but I did. That was really interesting. That video went on a crazy ride. The graveyard stuff. But I don't know if any of that stuff's true. We gotta be careful. I mean, saying that's history is definitive, and in whatever cases, even the Kim Philip War, whatever it is saying that the millennial reign of Christ already happened or it's gonna happen. We don't know jack about that stuff. Official narrative? That's interesting. Well, where do you get this stuff? Do you just research online? Go crazy deep all the time? Yeah, the Indians. Well, I don't like calling them Indians because they had a king, so they were obviously a society in some tribes, and I don't like that either. They lived in mansions. I think John Levy did something about it, but I had heard inklings of the. I never looked into it because I was like, well, of course, for Christ's sake, they might have been the ones who built the trains, made them all jewels and dragons, and I think they looked grand as hell. I think they looked just like the buildings. I think the blimps did too. They got stripped down and scaled off, so it would look like we did them. Because if you had jewels and gold and copper and all this, and how do you explain any of that, right? Or if they were mechanical, that dragon ornate spit flames. Imagine a big blimp would fucking look like a dragon because they could just put a cover on it. Yeah, man, like plastic body like you do a car. Basically the same thing. That thing could just bob there in the air, no problem. I don't even know who the Phoenicians are supposed to be, Skull. And yeah, I know. Oh, you talk about history. You don't know shit. I know. And you probably can't write a book right now about who the Phoenicians were. But I mean, I heard Lydic talk about them. So, but isn't that the same thing as saying, like, we know that Tartaria was a place? Or, who built the Great Wall of China? Because, like, these things are supposed to be super narrative, like Hitler and the Nazis and stuff. I watched something. This could be bunk, right? Of course. But I watched something where somebody took a Hitler speech and translated it. And you know what? It's the farthest thing from wanting to wage war. Yeah, he's animated, but it goes with what he's saying, and it's not the narrative. It's so easy to do. It's so easy to trick the marble people. It's No, like I say, is the translator lying? Possibly. What do I know? I don't know who made it. It was a YouTube video. Oh, you get all your information from YouTube. Well, YouTube is the encyclopedia because you can even go to the Britannica on it. So when somebody says you got your information on, there's official sources on there, and a lot of times the best stuff comes from unofficial sources. I've changed my mind a lot because I have been exposed to. Like I say, a lot of times it's comments that really take me for a loop. Sadike. Where I live is named after Phoenician deity. Yeah, so they're an ancient society, right? What are they, like the water people? Are they the water people? Because we're land people for sure, man. We don't. Zedek. Zedek, boom, boom, boom. Zedek, boom, boom, boom. Zedek, boom, boom, boom. Ah, he was a great god. That was pretty good. Like I say, Hank, you have all this stuff. You have a channel, you'd have a really good. You wouldn't have to stop talking for a minute. You'd be like boom, 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 boom. So I'll ask you, Skull. What does that mean to you? I mean, what does what? Because again, I'm assuming you're a lot more familiar with the Phoenicians than me, obviously. Well, I don't know. Is Gnosticism like? Because I've been delving into a lot of Gnosticism. I probably never make a video about it because I don't care that much. But it's really, I love the idea of Gnosticism. I feel like it sums up what's going on, you know. I'm waiting for your reply, Skull. I want to know what, because like I'm saying, when I hear Phoenician, I guess I think water people. Oh, but it's all, isn't it all? That's what I mean. It's so hard because it's all fake stuff, right? Or it's all real. I mean, if it's all real, then we're in big trouble because we're overloaded. But if it's lies, we're overloaded too. So. The world has been connected for a long time. There's no America. There's no primitive man. Not here. Yeah, there's some pockets of Aborigines. Okay, whatever. I don't even believe that, because all an Aborigine needs to do is find a piece of paper, or a cigarette wrapper. So he's gonna figure out. You know, people. That's the thing. But people in groups aren't dumb. They get to it somehow. It's just an amazing thing. You know, I kind of go with the theory that man was created by somebody to do a lot of manual labor, and they had to give him a consciousness and a thinking apparatus so that they could actually do this complicated work. And then when they were done, they just left them there, like a anteater does to an anthill. After he gets done eating them, he just walks away, and then they're all left there doing whatever. No master. Maybe that was a dumb analogy, but I think you know what I'm saying. They didn't care about the robots they created. They were just... And instead of keeping cloning, they gave them organs to make more, so they come up with the same consciousness of working, and that's why they can get us in this cycle and call it a ball, right? The whole ball thing is a psychological, right? The ball is a confine, and the plane is an expanse. They got us wrapped in it. And there's no escape. Bloodlines are connected too. But you know, there's bloodlines in everybody's neighborhood. Who do you think? The mayor and the police chief and the secretary to the public buildings? You know, those people are all connected. And if one of them does something wrong, nobody cares. None of them care. But damn sure. They all don't have any morals or any integrity in the first place, so they wouldn't be just stealing from everybody all the time. It's kind of like the primitive thing. I don't know if there was anything called Indian before the cowboys, you know. And I think that all goes together. Because I watched some of New West Reset. And their whole thing is a little bit stranger than ours, to be completely honest. And maybe it's just his videos are really good, and they show you, like, even some of the buildings, the oldest, like the cowboys stand in front of some of these ornate things. They don't quite have the flavor of the American ones, but they're like them a lot. But there's something about it that isn't like over here. Like the... And of course, China has colonial buildings, and Uruguay has colonial buildings. I mean, it goes on and on. I mean, they're either friend or enemy, and not by names they call themselves. Oh, I'm sure they have their own language and stuff, and I'm sure they lived in some of these buildings and stuff. But we got to remember that they may have even built them. They might have put the train tracks in, but we got to remember that the narrative is that these kids got stolen, right, and put in schools and told to forget about all that, right? Forget about free energy and how you build spires to the domes and all that. But I don't know who those people are. Can't put my finger on it because, of course, I wasn't there, and the word Indian just doesn't seem to add up. So, like you're saying, I agree with you. To have their own... And besides, you know, there's pretty good evidence that Abraham Lincoln was a swarthy fella. Swarthy isn't white. I learned this from, I can't even pronounce the channel's name. Sorry about that, but Amaro Kumo or something. Yeah, he really opened my eyes about what was going on in America before. Like I know, right? But a completely different interpretation. Even with the old world and all the buildings and who was it and all this stuff. I don't think America was necessarily white. And that's one of the big problems we have with society. The black culture has been more erased than the white culture because we don't, as a new society of the 18th, 17th, 1620s, let's say, we'd have, like the melanin people, is that the word? Melanin people? I don't know. I don't want to get off on a tangent, but the whole thing's, you know, if all these people who signed the Declaration of Independence weren't even the white people, then, you know, some shit was going down. And yeah, I seen pictures where it's more like the Indians were more colored, or copper color, I guess you could say, right? So it's a mystery of the realm. I love it. I think it's fascinating just sitting around contemplating about it. Inversion of the truth all over the place, correct. England was terrifying, literally blood drinkers. The Iroquois was terrifying. That sounds like song lyrics. The Iroquois was terrifying, literally blood drinkers. If we were born in the USA, we were technically Native Americans? Yeah, I mean, I understand the cadence of the words and what they're supposed to mean. Sure, I'm an American. I'm definitely native to this place. I was popped out right in Massachusetts, man, New England, where all the crazy stuff goes on. Yeah, that seems pretty bizarre. Oh, they definitely took some people off here and brought them somewhere else. I don't know if I could say all those things out loud there, Skull, but I'm all with you. But again, you don't literally think the word Indian. You're just using that to make a statement, right? The word Indian. Weren't they just Americans? Because we all know that America didn't really change its name. It's always been. That's the confusing thing about it. And I don't think there was a time when there wasn't America. And I think most of those destruction photos are bunk. I want to do a video so bad. But what happens is while I'm watching videos, I make a mental note. Oh, I'll go back to that. Oh, I'll go back to, instead of sitting there with a piece of paper going, that's a fake picture. I got to take that one. Oh, that's a fake picture. You know, because I see lots of videos. Like we all do. You can't put something like that together. It'd take months because you'd want to show all the ones that really pinpoint it. And Jared has a bunch of them. I could probably just let one of his videos scroll with no words to it. Of course, give him credit. But that guy does some amazing. His pictures are off the hook. But all you guys, all you old world detectives, the shit's phenomenal. This stuff is phenomenal. I'm so glad because I was lost as a kid because I knew that where I grew up was not built. And some of the older folk did too. I told you. Somebody actually told me. Ain't no way. And I agreed with them from that day forward. I was just a little kid driving in a 71 Firebird. 73 Firebird, sorry. Yeah. Yeah, well, when would you say that blended happened? You know, because the 1600s don't really show. I think there was something going on. The medieval times is something that's a big question, and I think that's when a lot of stuff went down. I think the Native American. history and traditions are more hoax prone. Wait a minute. Yeah, of course, right? Skull. And that's so deep, you know, we could have a whole just friggin' discussion on. Always known, not discovered. Yeah, I mean, come on. The way this circle of our level plane works, the Chinese, the way the winds and the tides go, most of the time, I'm not trying to be, what is it called, a meteorologist here or anything, but I mean, come on, all of us know. China would have been, in logic, I'm not saying it's true, would be the first ones here long before any, because they would have built a raft that could float on the water and it would have pushed them over here. Now, it seems simple to say, oh, they wouldn't encounter. I'm not being, you know, someone could put a sail on a ship and go somewhere. I don't understand this, the terrifying sea bull crap. I don't know how they got people to not. It can't be true. '14 to 15s. I saw a Travel Channel 7 when the German looking guy was told by the people that my wife is yellow. Yeah. Oh yeah. It's better documented in South America. See, my history is a satellite agreed upon playlist. It's extensive. Awakening Soldier. When did your awakening happen and what was it? I'm curious. Everybody's got a pre-prep program. I mean, incubator babies. I think there's a place where humans grow here, and somebody knows it. That's why the resets can take place. Because if they bring over the whatever great technology and just fucking burn everybody like War of the Worlds, they don't have to worry. It's not. They might have blocked the hole. One of the things is I think they took away portals. We're not supposed to stay here. We're only supposed to come here to be physical, to have sex, and, you know, build dragsters and make videos and feel all the experiences of being physical. But the reason why we're like caught in sin is because we can't leave. But that's not by our own design. We're trapped in the physical. We're supposed to go in and out. That's my opinion. This has a dome on it because it's supposed to be kept from the other places. It's a place to visit, just like all the other spiritual realms are, however you want to put it. But you got to have a place to release as a spirit, right? So you get to do some physical stuff and go back, like hammer nails. Yeah, we love that as a thing with hands and feet, and that's the costume we wear when we come in here. So I don't know about a lot of people, but I can't keep my hands off of things. You know, don't put a toolbox near me. I know I go off on tangents. I'm just, it's just off the cuff live, just hanging out. Always in motion, Skull. Suppose the reset's not going to be the same for you as it is for me. Right? It's simple. It's not going to be the same for the people in Connecticut as it is for the people in Washington. No, it's all going to happen. One thing's happened, but I still think the babies grow. I think there's something to that. I think there's something really sinister about trapping us under the dome. Awakening started in February 2016, started with the NWO. I want to be able to sail freely without being fined and confined or raided. The whole system's set up. Dude, it's a funny thing because it wasn't till
and you can see it in the Stooges. I mean, that may sound stupid, but there was a time before the laws were here. 53, 58, those years, that was a reset. I mean, you know, you could, maybe you might argue that it wasn't, but it was. Because before that, we didn't license all our cars and license our fishing and license, you know, I can't go on and rip it apart, have crappy travel conditions and no public anything and stuff like that. No, the 50s, the 53, they said no. Everybody needs 10,000 pieces of paper, and you better get them, because we set up some guys with guns, and there'll be some shootouts. But pretty soon, everyone will know that we're coming with guns, and it's gonna be a shootout, and it just stops. How's the public gonna handle that? They can't. You know, there's some serious problems with the ball, and there's some serious problems with the flat or level. I don't like flat. I like level. I don't like any of these words, to tell you the truth, because maybe it's just a spiritual place. And the floor is like a video game. It doesn't exist. It only exists because you think your feet need something. And that's not like a trick. That's how our buoyancy works. I mean, this gravity stuff, I don't know why people just can't figure out. It's none of this stuff. Even if it isn't level and flat, it's not ball whipping around 1,000 miles an hour here and there, and then, oh God, this stuff is just ridiculous. Lots of southern states can drive ship boxes. We never been allowed to run. Yeah. Anyway. Oh, I'm telling you, man. Every time. Yeah, of course, Scott. Inquisition, when I grew up, man, you could have 3 cars, all for parts. You know, when your car broke down racing, you'd come back to the house and pop some more parts. No one give a shit. They pretended that their neighbors cared so that they can put laws in. You can't drive this kind of car. You can't make your own stuff. You can't. Oh, come on, man. It's just started. It's the rule of law, not the law of the land. That's what they did in the 50s, and it wasn't till then. You know, everyone was pretty free. They didn't have to work. They didn't have to, you know, there was a lot of abundance, you know, in the 20s and stuff, and I think we were just using up the surplus from the old world. And nobody needed to work. They had lots of automation and stuff, but slowly but surely, by the end of 39, they got all that stuff done. They found out how to clone. I remember when I was really young, one of the craziest things that I found out was that cloning people was nothing in the 30s, by the 30s. So I mean, someone was here playing with that technology, right? The 20s wasn't us. Even though my grandmother lived through it, I can't believe the woman lived in a world where there wasn't laws. Yeah, and I know people would say, well, that sucks, because then there wasn't government assistance, and there wasn't any of this and any of that. When has life ever been easy? Right? It doesn't matter whether you're rich or powerful. Rich and powerful just brings more bullshit of the same stuff that you're dealing with when you're poor. Think the cops and the mayor and everybody don't want a piece of your ass if you're rich? You're wrong. The state wants your ass. you don't get 14 million bucks for nothing. They don't give you that money for nothing. You gotta start playing. That shit ain't no good. So I live the solutions. See my Awakening Soul, your channel, is it called Awakening Soul? They don't want to give us independent. If we found out that up there, just a little ways up, anything lighter than air acts like a bobber, they wouldn't be able to control us. We'd be putting weapons on them, all kinds of shit. Forget this drone technology. That stuff's nothing.
That's one of the reasons why the SR-71 leaked and stuff. If you want to follow the narrative, my logical assumption when somebody says that is because it wasn't all stitched together. It was meant to get up there and blow up into a balloon and just sail like a boat. I mean, everybody knows how a boat works. There's a certain layer that lighter than air becomes a bobber. They don't want that for you, me. My grandfather had a car graveyard and cleaned it up with ice mines. Probably every car running on a road. Yeah, dude, it's really sad. I watched it happen. I got in trouble by the coppers in California. I had this nasty Jeep. Oh man, and it was my little mechanical toy. The cops didn't want me doing nothing to, just, I'm not gonna go into it. You just said it, that you can't do it. This is what I mean. Try to take the meter off your house and see how far you get. People never have a counter argument because it's true. Tell them take the tags off your car and drive around. You ain't doing it. Go fishing without a license. Or go do that. Man. 10th channel. Yeah, Skull's a good dude. He'll hook you up. That's why he's my moderator, because he's on it. I'm glad you guys came today. I hope it was entertaining. Hearing me yap. Ooh, here's all my crap. But I always learn something in the comments. I like to do it. Walmart does not have patents for airships. Yeah, well, the Sears catalogs were pretty crazy too. I was alive, and one of my girlfriends worked at the pickup for the Sears catalog. Man, let me tell you some of the stuff that was in that thing. Hangers. I know what you're saying. I saw a lot of that stuff. You could buy your own personal plane. Yeah. Oh, yeah, you could buy these big rockets. I contemplated buying them one time. Well, me and her were sitting there because she worked there and I was at the counter. She was one of the service reps. So you'd open this catalog, you'd sit there looking at it with the employee. What a time, right? Now, was the employee happy and giddy about this? No, most of the time they had to pee or go to lunch, right? They're just humans. But no, somebody come in there and not know exactly what doing. You got 30 pages of this one thing. Holy mother. What a job. Poor kid. We were just kids. Yeah, Skull's good. I'm glad to have him around my channel. I say that. He does his own good lives, A lot of places use blimps. I think they can get up into a certain position in the sky where we can't even see them, because look, here's the thing. I know this is going to sound crazy. I know that sounds crazy, but here's something that doesn't sound crazy. Your eyes are only good for 4 miles at best, and that's stretching it, because it's called a cone of vision for a reason. And when you look out from your porch over the houses and keep seeing the clouds, they're flat, right? You keep seeing, you can't see then the horizon. That it's because the cone of vision can only see so far. You can't do it. So when you look up, you can't see infinitely up there either. That's why the stars are close. Your vision is still doing the same thing. Your vision doesn't change because you look up. People seem to forget this. If you're looking out, you can only see a certain distance. If you're looking up, just because it's black, you don't get that line of color changing. So they can trick you by thinking that you're seeing into deep space. You ain't seeing deep shit. You're seeing 3 miles up, and the sun's right there, and so is the moon. It's all right here. The weird thing about a lot of this is it's so simple. It's not a mystery, and people convolute it. No, Amazon and Walmart are probably Navy intelligence, just like the rock music. They obfuscate everything. Anything that's good for people, they make sure they flip it. You can't get away from them. Where I live, you ain't got a store unless you go to them. Okay, maybe a Stop and Shop. Shaw's. They both don't. Sorry, they don't compare. I mean, I can't live in a paranoid society, and I refuse to, because I'm not one for. You ain't pushing me around. If I gotta go somewhere. My family works for a certain company. Most of them. And they get put off by people getting their goods from other places. And I can understand why. They want to support their houses and everything. I get it. But progress was never meant to be good. It just is. It's like that Tom Sawyer song from Rush, right? That's not one of their lyrics, but I think I'll write that down. Progress isn't supposed to be good. It is for the sake of it. My brother always says that. Yeah, just change it for the sake of it. It's fucking stupid, but everyone accepts it. Yeah, go along with it. Yeah, people are a company, right? You're persons, you go into court, you're screwed because you don't even know what you are as an entity. That's why they can hem you up so much. Because you don't understand. Not you. I'm not blaming you. Right? I'm saying as a people, as a marble person. This all comes down to being marble person. Our psychology and our physiology is all messed up. Last thing I heard that really kind of resonated with me was that the name of the weeks, the days of the weeks are completely opposite to what some kind of spiritual religion, I'll say, is meant to be. They screwed them all up. Now, I believe that because, again, every time I look into something, it seems to be flipped, like this car that we're looking at right now. It's all like that. Black Rock, Vanguard, the State Street of most of this round. Well, all the waters are bought up, all the hills are bought up, all the mountains, all the land, everything. Somebody owns it. That's why you can't go out. I'm gonna escape this and go out with a rifle and sit there. No, you ain't. They're coming. That's somebody's property. You don't grow chickens out here, man. You don't put feed out here. You don't strip this and make it your own garden. We live in a place. I live in a place that's, it's so disgusting. We got signs all over the place. The right to farm. Any society who needs to have farms, declaring it won a court case to farm, is beyond my understanding, right? And I'm sure it is yours. What are you talking about? Does that not rub you the wrong way? Certainly me. The right to farm. The audacity, right? And to let this go on is even worse. I'm not saying we're not to blame. We're a bunch of... We just... I don't think we were bred to take up the enemy anyway. I just don't think that's one of the problems. Yeah, they're putting everybody out of business. Sure. Let's go look at how many people can't find jobs. It's an epidemic. Yeah, the private game reserve, bunch of nonsense. It's just like they set up the foreign legions and stuff after they started talking about UFOs. You know, there's a connection there. Foreigners, aliens, just all flip. You know the thing about the defendant. I'm not telling you not to. I say go for it and be ready, right? But the thing about we had this conversation before, and I'll just make it brief. The thing about prepping, and I'm not saying you are. I'm not putting anything on you. It just brings up a conversation that if you're prepping and you're going to defend your home to the death, that's good. But you got to be there when it happens to you, because like me and Skull were discussing, the end of the world isn't the same for everybody. It's very different for every single country and person in it. So like, if they know that you're one of the people who are going to defend their land, you're going to get pulled out of your truck. You're not going to be at your prepping spot. They know. You know, I always say you could put wires up around you. Psst. You think that's gonna? Even I'm talking about local law enforcement. You guys might not know what they have in California. That they'll truck over here in an instant with planes that are sitting at the airport ready to load these things up, and they flew over my house all the time transporting these things. Believe me, man, the operation when it comes down, I bid you well, my friend, and I hope you are successful. Corbin Park, only 30 members allowed at a time through the hunting regulations. Crazy elitists. 3 mountain peaks off limits. In Vermont? Oh, hey, I think one of the reasons why too is they might be hunting something else, because we have this whole 411 thing. We don't know how deep that goes. Let's not pretend that we have any idea what this missing shit is and what the elites, I don't know, the creatures, whoever wants to dwell out there with weapons, they know why they're doing it. And it might just be to get pelts, but they don't want anybody else out there. It's because they don't want you to know something. It isn't because they don't want you to partake in the activity. They don't care. They get the money from you. Anything that they're not getting money from you and me is something that's on the inside. Like the moon missions, right? If they did that so many times, we'd be going up. They'd be jacking $2 million off everybody who wants to go up and circle the moon and come home. And you know damn well they'd be making an amusement ride out of it if they could do it, but they can't, so they don't. And that's one of my biggest things. There ain't no way they let that enterprise go to waste. They can't do it. And they don't want you in there lighter than aircraft, because you'll go home and make one. It's not that technically crazy. Yeah, I know. You can put cars from the 40s. Why don't we just have that? No, we got... You know what a car is today. It's ridiculous. All you need is a 40s car. Same thing. The 40s car, you ever get in one? Go drive one. I'm telling you. Do that. You'll be like, whoa. Yeah, it's... Here's the bottom line. The Divine One gave us all free will. Use it over that real simple. Stop playing into your own enslavement. Work out a job, build a new foundation. Dangerous game. I wouldn't do it. Oh yeah. Any animal that comes across your nice pliable ass is gonna have himself a... You better have a gun, because you're the weakest thing out there. Doesn't matter if you fall in an anthill, your gun ain't gonna do shit, and you're gonna get smoked. And then while while you're sitting there dying, something's gonna come and try to eat your eyes right quick. You might get one shot off, but you're gonna be surrounded before you can even. Yeah, we don't do wilderness good. We don't do nature. We're the weakest thing. When we go outside, we're completely vulnerable to anything. Even right, even your neighbor's dog. You might get a lucky punch in, but if he's intent on having some food, even if you get away, you lost. You're gonna be smoked. You don't have another fight in you. You better hope he don't come back. He's got more fight in him. That's what I mean. He'll out muscle you for hours. Never mind what a gorilla could do. You don't wanna. I have to get. Hey, Andrea. We'll see you later. Anyway, that's it for me too. I just wanted to play those two videos, and I'm glad we had a good conversation. How long we been going? Yeah. So, I'll see you guys next time, and have a wonderful night. And go watch another live stream about the old world, because you know they're on tonight.